So a couple of years ago on this channel, I actually made a video talking about the next Rioli that was coming into the AFL and how he would eventually be a Richmond Tiger. Of course, now that I can sit here pretty much 20 kilos heavier, 4 years later, still with no girlfriend, I can confirm that Rioli is Maurice Rioli Jr. and he did end up making the AFL for the Richmond Football Club and hasn't exactly, I think, strung together a good consistent year yet, but he has had about 812 different injuries. But what I'm trying to say is pretty much after that video, it was very unclear when the next Rioli was going to, well, get drafted into the AFL, you know, after Maurice Rioli Jr. And again, since then, we hadn't heard of any new news to do with any upcoming Riolis. Of course, Daniel Rioli is still in the AFL. Maurice Rioli Jr. Is still doing his thing. But nothing really was being said of any upcoming Rioli until now, when a video a couple of days ago went extremely viral of a Rioli kicking a torpedo from outside 50 and getting a goal. Now, some of you guys at home might be saying, well, look, yeah, most AFL players can do this. This is not really a big shock. Why are you talking about this? Why should we care? Well, first of all, when I turn on an AFLW game, I genuinely see like the most common length distance kick for goal be like 25 to 30 meters. There's not really too many players who can kick at goal further than that, but then actually do it with accuracy. And what if I told you that Rioli who kicked that goal from outside 50 was not only a female player, but is one who could very well be on the rise to being on an AFLW team next season? Obviously, most likely being the Richmond Football Club. Now, in the AFLW, there is a father-daughter rule, with the official rule saying that a player may be nominated by an AFLW club based on the father-daughter rule if their father played at least one AFL game for that club. So again, it's not like the 100 games or anything like that. And of course, this Rioli in Maria Rioli is the sister of Maurice Rioli Jr., who plays for the Richmond Football Club, and the daughter of Maurice Rioli Sr., arguably the greatest Indigenous player to ever play the game, and of course pretty much the greatest Indigenous player to play for the Richmond Football Club. Now, if you genuinely watch this footage of Maria Rioli kicking the goal from outside 50, I mean, it's absolutely insane and super refreshing to see, and shows that this young woman has an absolute boot on her that definitely would go well further than a kick that I do. The furthest I could kick is probably like 35 meters, and even then, once I go over 35 meters, I'm probably falling over backwards and shitting myself or something. I'm not even going to lie to you. Now, Maria Rioli is only a 19-year-old 172 centimeter midfielder slash forward, of course, up in Northern Territory. It says that Maria Rioli has seemingly flown under the radar this season, which is far from easy to do given her lineage. But the small forward largely played through the Northern Territory Football League Women's Premier League, where she slotted in as a midfielder who could rotate forward. When stepping up to the Allies for the first game against Vic Metro, Rioli kicked a ripping goal and gave spectators a taste of what she is capable of. As one would expect from the famous family, Rioli has all the raw traits that catch the eye. From her acceleration and clean hands at ground level, to her awareness, goal sense, and X factor. The Tiwi Bombers midfielder slash forward is a food height at 172 centimeters and having long been touted as a potential talent to step up. Rioli is one of those players who is a father-daughter eligible, but will likely be available in the open draft. The reason that is she is quite raw, with her endurance and consistency needing work. She's not going to be a 15 and 20 disposal player, more so a 5 to 10 touch talent, but one who could kick 3 goals from a handful of touches or set up score assists. It won't happen consistently, but she has the capacity. Rioli may be a player who benefits from another year of development as she irons out her game, but her highlights and natural footballing ability are as good as anyone's. And again, when you look at her strengths, it says that she's got clean hands, X-factor, speed, game sense, and upside, while her improvements is her consistency and endurance. So obviously, she is doing what this website is saying and taking that extra year to really develop her skills and, bring consistency to her game. I could 100% see her as a player who Richmond really look at. And one thing that article said, which was a little bit weird to me, was they actually have her listed as a small forward. Again, 172 centimeters is not small. That's probably taller than like 80% of the girls I know. And I don't think the girls I know are particularly too small, but 172 centimeters is not small at all. And again, for AFLW standard, I don't think that's really small at all. And she could really fit in and I think play not only as a pressure type of forward, considering she's extremely quick, but be a player who moves up as a high half forward. Again, it said she has patches where she could maybe go into the midfield, but I think her game may actually be as a high half forward, where she's of course able to go in and I think move up the ground and use her speed and agility to do so. Again, it says that her endurance will need work. Of course, Maurice Rioli's endurance I think really needed work at the start, but now that he's about 22 or so, you can definitely see the upside of that and how much it has improved over time. So I think Richmond will 100% look at her, and she will be, I believe, the first Rioli to play AFLW and another Rioli to play for the Richmond Football Club. Obviously the fourth now. You've had Maurice Rioli, the GOAT, Daniel Rioli, who somehow, again, to everyone's disbelief, but happy to see, became one of Richmond's best ever players. I mean, 3 premierships, a best and fairest, has been Richmond's best player probably for the last couple of years now, has really done some extremely good things. He will go down as a Richmond legend. It looked like at the start of his career, he'd just be an average pressure small forward, and he developed into being one of the best halfbacks in the league, now playing for Gold Coast. But then you've got Maurice Rioli Jr. at number 3, and now potentially Maria Rioli. This could be very interesting to see how this goes. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how Maria Rioli tracks as a player and continues to build off this and have scouts and talent leagues, of course, looking at her that could potentially turn into a realization of that she could get drafted to the Richmond Football Club very soon. And you know what? I don't really talk about AFLW at all on this channel. In fact, I can't remember the last time I have talked about it, but in a recent season that has been unfortunately just covered in so much negativity due to the game being constantly talked about on radio and on social media as being really rushed in its development. We've got 18 teams in the league, and like 9 out of 18 of those teams are really bad and don't have many good players or don't really have much good to watch at all on there. But then you've got the other 9 that just look so good, and there's definitely so much good stuff there, but just gets overshadowed by that other 9 teams and the negativity that comes along with them by the radio and social media. I just felt like I needed to make a positive video here to not only bring some awareness to the fact that Richmond are going to be having a future Rioli here most likely that no one is legitimately talking about until now, but also some positivity to the fact that the AFL's oldest and most iconic pretty much family tree and one of the biggest parts about the Richmond Football Club is only going to be extending and now furthermore being added to a completely different sporting league that's not the AFL. That can only be exciting as a fan to see, to hear about, and to think about. And you've got this girl kicking a 50-meter torpedo, which is one of the cleanest and nicest torpedoes that I've seen in a hot minute. which should only get you guys more excited, because some of the skill and some of the clips that I've seen from this girl do look really, really good, and I'm extremely excited to see how, you know, this develops and how potentially could Maria Rioli become a future Richmond football player. But of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest sports content, sports news, all of the above. Go and subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlog channels, which will be getting linked in the description down below. But as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.